This one is top free agents and position for offense. So I'll be doing defense. Moving on to the offense. W7 video. So let's get started. First off, we'll be the quarterbacks. So top quarterback available in free agency is first let's say honorable mentions are guys. Some of them are guys that either are still on contract, so they would have to get released. So I didn't include them in the top quarterbacks just because they're still under contract. Technically, that's like Rodgers and Cousins, or some guys might get traded. More than thought into trades just because you would have to give up something for him. But Will Levis is a guy could get traded depending on if Titans draft the guy in the first or not. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. So yeah, first top quarterback available for agency this year. It's pretty easy, even if you did have a bad final two games. It's Sam Darnold. Just tap landing spots are Vikings, Raiders, and Titans. Also, for most of these guys, for most of the positions, unless the team really needed like multiple of those guys, multiple of those positions, I tried to only do one a team for only like they wouldn't be on the same position twice for most part, just because most more often than not they probably won't sign two of the top guys. Kind of happen, but more often than not they won't unless they just really need it. So yeah, Darnold probably won't go to the Vikings, but there's still a chance just because if he's willing to take a decent bit of pay cut compared to what people are expecting him to get after his good year, maybe he wants to stay with the Vikings just because maybe he thinks he just had a good year, but that how maybe it's just like well, maybe I really like O'Connell, maybe I like all these weapons too. I want to leave, but I could probably end up leaving just because Vikings had JJ McCarthy coming up next year. So yeah, the other nine spots. The Raiders, they got a new coach in Pete Carroll. They need a new quarterback. It's just do they draft the guy, and are they able to get a guy? Because there's a decent chance that the top two quarterbacks are all gone by their pick. And then do they like anybody in the second? Because they could know that. The Titans, they also they have number one overall pick, so they could select any quarterback they want. Maybe they don't like the quarterbacks a ton, so they rather sign Darnold, draft a guy like Travis Hunter, or somebody help the rest of the team. If Darnold doesn't work out, hope that sucks, but hopefully it isn't too bad of a deal. And then you can try to draft the guy again next year. Because if your quarterback's not that good, you usually aren't going to be that good of a team unless you just have a great team around them. But those happen sometimes, so they probably have a decently high pick next year again. So that's Darnold's landing spots. Second best quarterback, in my opinion, is Russell Wilson. Is this quarterback free agency class is not great because that's why I included Russ, even though I doubt he's under free agency. Well, maybe he enters it, but I doubt he leaves for another team. It really sounds like he'll stay with the Steelers. Just a matter of what the deal is. He hasn't signed a new deal yet. So yeah, that's why I only have one landing spot for him. The Steelers, I think he's still stay there. Like he had a little bit down here at the end of the year. He had a good start of the year once he replaced Fields. And that's what the Steelers have been most of the last few years. They start off good usually, or at least decent, and they just do decent enough to get a winning record. Yeah, I think Fields Wilson's stand there. Number three quarterback is another Steelers guy from this past season, Justin Fields. I maybe they resign both, but I doubt they resign both because it's not going to be very cheap. Like I doubt Fields is not getting that much, but it's he's only getting paid more than he did last season. You know, be getting rest more than he did last season because Russ really took the bet minimum because he was getting paid so much by the Broncos this year. So it's gonna be tough to pay both of them. So yeah, his top land spots are Giants, Raiders, and Browns. Giants, like, do probably rather draft the guy, but maybe they want to sign Fields, see what they got, and still draft the guy. Maybe they can do it with the Vikings this year. I don't not saying it's gonna work out as well, but just see what he got, and then if Fields doesn't work out, that's fine because it's probably a shorter term deal, and then you got a guy, and if it works out, you got Fields, then you can try to trade the guy you drafted. But yeah, then I got the Raiders again. It's one of the few instances I have a team twice. Just they need a quarterback. It's just if they miss out on Darnold, they can try to go for Fields because honestly, you can not only Colin team can sign all these guys, can sign these guys. So a lot of teams are gonna miss out. So that's why I include the Raiders here. Maybe they want a young quarterback. So and then there's the Browns. I include them just because Jameis Winston is probably done for most of the year. and you still on a super expensive deal, so maybe you want to go a little younger, but you want to invest on the rest of your team into your draft pick. And then because they have Jameis Winston, all non mentions for quarterback on the roster, but he's a free agent, so we made it a leave-in. So maybe they re-sign him instead. Yeah, then on just Aaron Rodgers. Sounds like he's probably gone, but he hasn't been released yet, so I didn't include him in the list. So yeah, he's there's him. Then same thing, Kirk Cousins. He might get released. He might be kept as a backup. Might get traded, but probably not just because of how big his contract is. I doubt anybody wants to take out that contract in a trade. So yeah, so that's for the reason I didn't include him. Then Will Levis, he's all right quarterback. I just didn't include him just because he's under contract for 2 more seasons. He would have to get traded unless the Titans really do not like him anymore. I doubt they're releasing him. They did just use a second round pick recently, and he's shown he can have some decent starts. So I doubt somebody would have to trade for him more likely than not. And then my last honorable mention for quarterbacks is Jameis Winston. He's a Browns free agent. He'll have some games where he throws a ton of touchdowns, but then he also has some games where he throws a lot of picks and not very many touchdowns. So he's like Browns would probably there's chance Browns might try to re-sign him, but maybe just because Watson's injury again. But we'll see. Anyway, that's it for quarterbacks. Not a great quarterback for agency class, but it usually isn't because if you have a good quarterback, you're usually not going to let him leave unless he's getting up there, or at least in free agency. Because most of the good quarterbacks, if they change teams to street trade, and it doesn't even happen a lot. So yeah, now I got the running backs. Let's get to this. Top running back available, my opinion, is Aaron Jones. He had a good year. It's like thing. It's problem is with some of these guys is a lot of them just like they're more likely than not. Like some of these guys are probably going to resign with their current teams, but there's a chance they leave. They haven't resigned yet. So yeah, Aaron Jones, land spots are Vikings, Broncos, Cowboys. Yeah, it sounds like he wants to finish his career with the Vikings, so that could happen. Just do they want to resign him or not? Or maybe he wants too much pay. Maybe they want to go younger in a draft because this running back class is really good. And they so might also be realized and why these guys might not get the big deal because this is a really good running back class. So yeah, Broncos, their top running back, Jonathan Williams, is a free agent. They don't really have much outside of him. Just try to help out your running game. And Jones is a good receiving back, so he can help you that too. Then Cowboys, it's really just they resign Rico Dowdle. Like if they do, I doubt they bring in Jones. Maybe they do, just to have another running back. But that's so yeah, or maybe they do like Jones just to have because they did a few years ago like to have run. They've had like to have a running back committee, but it's also with Mike McCarthy as head coach. Obviously, he's gone now, so maybe they won't like it as much. But yeah, my number 2 running back is Nick Chubb. His top land spot is Browns. Like he could leave, but I doubt it. He just seems like a guy where if the team wants him back, he'll resign. I don't think he's only the Browns for a while. He's a nice guy, really nice guy. Like you never hear anything about him. Just sucks. He's dealt with injuries these past 2 seasons. So hopefully he'll bounce back here this upcoming season if he's fully healthy. So I was thinking the Browns will re-sign him. Stefanski likes having a good running game, so I think he'll try to get that again with Chubb coming back next year. That was the then next running back is Najee Harris. Top of my spots are Steelers and Raiders. I can't really think of any other teams that really need a running back. Just not a lot. But yeah, it's like Steelers just because they like him. They use the first round pick on him. He hasn't had great years, but he has had 1,000-yard rushing every single year of his career. It's kind of crazy, but he has. Another landing spot potentially for him is the Raiders. They brought in Pete Carroll. They now not have much of a running game. They could try to bring him in, and Pete Carroll loves having a great running game, so it's definitely a possibility if he leaves the Steelers. So yeah, another running back is J.K. Dobbins. Landing spot Chargers. I just don't think he's leaving. Harbaugh seems to like him. He was with the Ravens before, so he's been with both Harbaugh brothers. So it seems like the Harbaughs like him So I just think he's going to stay with the Chargers. I don't really think he's going to leave. Maybe he was, but I doubt it. Another guy, maybe if you think he can bounce back from family issues and stuff and some injuries he's dealt with over his career, is Monte Williams. I think I forgot to put him in the honorable mentions, but there's another guy there. But let's go honorable mentions. First one is Jalen Warren. He is an RFA, so I didn't really include him just because, you don't see a lot of RFAs in football, but there's some, and especially in football, they don't usually leave a lot just because I'm assuming it's just an mob sheet. I would be surprised if they don't. So that if they do, Steelers can match any offer anybody else will offer him, and they get a pick if he does end up leaving. So I just don't think he's leaving the Steelers. So that's why it's honorable mentions. Then Rico Dowdle, he's might be our pick because he was a former UDFA. It's like a lot of RFAs in football are like former UDFAs because they were signed 3-year deals originally. But I just think he's re-signed with the Cowboys. Another one is Raheem Mostert. He's still under contract with Dolphins. That's why he's in honorable mentions. I just he did not a lot of their offense did not have great years for their standards this last season, especially compared to having a great year the year before for Mostert. He's 1 year left on his deal. I was think Dolphins might release him. They had Devon A-Chain, obviously. They drafted Jalen Wright last year. So maybe to keep him, just so they have that veteran presence. Because they got 2 young running backs around him in that group. So maybe they do keep him. But just getting up there, I doubt he's on the bounce back at this point. If they cut Mostert, they wouldn't say much, but they would save $3 million. Not a ton, but still a decent little bit. So yeah, that's it for running backs. Let's go to wide receivers. We got 2 really good wide receivers. So yeah, let's go. Number 1 wide receiver, it's T. Higgins. He did deal with injuries this year, but when he was healthy, he had a really good year for the Bengals. He got franchise tag last offseason, so he didn't get to leave. This maybe you'll get again, but hopefully he really hopes he gets to sign a huge contract. So Dalman's about Bengals, they can re-sign him. It's gonna be tough just because they have to pay Jamar Chase soon, but I'm sure they also not like to see him leave because he's such a good player. Another team, Panthers, they can really use some weapons to get around Bryce Young. They still have a good amount of cap space, so that could be a good sign for him. Another one is the Patriots. Just try to get a big weapon for Drake May next year. That way, one less needing to draft, so they can draft other guys. So you still could use a wide receiver, but less of a need because you're just trying to use wide receiver. Be a huge weapon for Drake May next year. Could really help him. So yeah, second guy, Chris Godwin. He was having a great year. Could have had a career year this season if it wasn't for his injury, which sucked. So yeah, the landing spots are Bucks, Steelers, and Broncos. They still could resign him. It doesn't sounds like it probably end up leaving, especially with Jalen McMillan have a late season breakout for them. Definitely hurts his case of resigning with them, but maybe he does. Another team is the Steelers. They could really use an good wide receiver outside George Pickens. They don't really have many guys. They trade for Mike Williams at the deadline this last season. He didn't do much. He's a free agent, so there's another guy putting on mentions there. I don't think he's worth putting up any of these guys I have on this list. And then Broncos, they could use a big weapon to put opposite of Cortland Sutton. They got some young wide receivers, but I'm not super high on any of them. Maybe they really are. That's still think you do a very good number 2 a receiver and a guy who could be even good number 1 for you. Like him and Sullivan would be a really good combo to put for Bo Nix to throw to next year for the next few years. Depends on what they sign how long a deal they sign Gallman to. I don't know how long a deal Sullivan's on. But the 2 top free agents, definitely not probably top 2 free agents in offense. If for sure really high up there this offseason are wide receivers. They're both really good. So if you need a wide receiver and you have a decent amount of cap space, it's just decent year. The team I didn't put on here for any of these guys is the Bills, just because they have negative cap space right now. So I just don't think they would have enough. They could obviously restructure, but I just think it'd be tough to make enough cap space to sign any of these guys. So I didn't include them, but they could try maybe to re-sign Amari Cooper. That would be tough because they do not. They literally have negative cap space. Obviously, they're going to get out of it, but they have to. So yeah. So then another guys, Hollywood Brown. Top landing spots for him are the Chiefs, Jets, and Bears. He's a guy who missed most of the season due to injury, so didn't do he didn't do much this season because of his injury. So he signed a 1 year prove a deal. Sucked for him that he wasn't able to prove anything because he was his injury. So maybe he signs another prove a deal with somebody, try to do it again, and stay healthy this time. So yeah, top man spots for him are Chiefs, Jets, and Bears. If you sign the Chiefs, just go to a great team and try to do something with a good quarterback from Mahomes. Jets they could use wide receiver. Devontae Adams probably gone. Alan Lazard, you would probably release just because he's not good and he can save a decent amount of money if you release him. Then Bears just to get a replacement for Keenan Allen if he ends up leaving, could use that. Just get another little bit of an older guy, some more experience to help Roduzay with DJ Moore as well. So they could definitely because they tried last year to get very good wide receivers for Caleb Williams. It didn't work very well because Keenan Allen didn't have that great of a year. Doomsday had to struggle a little bit in his rookie year. So yeah, we'll see how they do. We'll see where he ends up going. Then got I got Bears wide receiver. I got Keenan Allen. He pretty much came out and said a couple of weeks ago that he was either re-signing with Chicago or going to LA team. So that's a 3 landing spots for him: the Bears, Chargers, or Rams. That's really it. Like Sheen really liking that charge with the Chargers. Maybe resigns there. It's just weird because they just trade him last offseason, but maybe they do. Maybe he liked it with the Bears. Maybe he just really likes Caleb Williams as a quarterback. So he likes it. He wanted to go back there, and maybe he likes that team. The Rams, if they get rid of Cooper Kupp, maybe, but I just not if I don't. They don't really need a third wide receiver. Like they've shown they can do good with. They can find a good, decent third wide receiver pretty much out of nowhere. Like Demarcus Robinson, a decent year as their third wide receiver. Like so, you don't really need a ton to have good third receivers. Maybe so. It really depends on what happens to Cooper Kupp. There's another honorable mention you could do. I just don't really think he gets moved on from the Rams this year. Maybe next year, but I just don't think they do. So yeah. Then got another guy that was just been was on a new team this season for second half season. They got Murray Cooper. Top man's best for him are Giants, Raiders, and Jets. Could put the Bills. It's just they didn't have a great year with them, and they don't have a lot. They literally, like I said before, had negative cap space. So do they want to use up some of that little cap space they already have on a guy who didn't have a great year with them or last year? Maybe they do. I just don't think they do. And I think they'd rather sign a different guy or try to draft somebody highly. So yeah, Giants, they could really use a guy opposite of Malik Neighbors, get some weapons for whoever future quarterback ends up being. Raiders, they traded Devontae Adams this last offseason at the midseason. They had Jacoby Myers and not much else in receiver. They got Brock Bowers, but he's a tight end. He's not a receiver. Then also got the Jets. Mike Williams, they trade Mike Williams at the deadline. Devontae Adams most likely gone. They probably will release Alan Lazard. Maybe they even trade Garrett Wilson. I hope they don't, especially with all those other receivers probably gone. But we'll see. So yeah, those are a few lines. Foster Cooper. Honorable mentions are D Hop. I could have put him on the list. It was just I was a little higher on some of these other guys, especially with D Hop getting older. Like a lot, some of these Keenan Allen, Cooper, and D Hop, and Devontae Adams are all in their 30s, so they probably aren't going to get much further than they are already. They've had good careers. They're just not as good as they used to be at this point. We'll see if D Hop can get his first Super Bowl in a little over a week. We'll see what happens there. Then Devontae Adams, the only reason he's in honorable mentions is because he's still under contract. I doubt he's got a huge cap it this year, so I doubt they keep him. But he's still under contract, so maybe they do. I don't think they will, but yeah. If he was on actual free agent and no contract, I'd probably put him on the list somewhere. So yeah, like a lot of these wide receiver guys that could be free agents. A lot of them spent 1 year with their last team or half the season. They get traded mid-season, like D Hop and Cooper. Keenan Allen was 1 year. Devontae Adams was half the season. Hollywood Brown was 1 year. Godwin, Higgins, and Todd Rocket are only receivers I have here that have spent multiple years with their team. Another guy in my Mitch is Tyler Lockett, like I just said. He's been good for a while for the Seahawks. It's just that they want to free up some cap space, especially with JSN just having a great year. They got DK Metcalf, obviously, so do they want to get a little younger at wide receiver, free up some cap space because they think they can free up like $17 million in cap. They could try to trade him. I just don't think many suitors for that, but maybe they do. So I feel like Lockett's another guy who could be a free agent as well. So there's two really good wide receivers, and there's some right depth. Like not any guys you want being your number one, but like decent number twos at this point in some of these guys' careers. So yeah, that's it for our receivers. Let's go with tight ends. Tight ends, there's not much. Let's just put it that way. There is not much in tight ends. So yeah, top tight end I have Shane is Mike Gesicki. And spots for him are Bengals and Giants. Can resign with the Bengals. He decent year there. Maybe they depends on if he prices some out of there, especially if they do resign T Higgins because they're not the one to have a lot of cap space for offense, especially with all the upgrades they have to try and make on defense with how bad their defense was this year. They like to the edges in my next video, like top free agents, but like they'll probably release Sam Hubbard. So there's a guy I need to replace. There's a lot of guys you see on defense. So if he's cheap and maybe they do live in T against Leaf, we could resign him. It's just they need to use a lot of that cap space on defense. If your offense is great, unless there's a guy you really really want, you need to invest in that defense. So yeah, and the Giants, they invested draft picks and Theo Johnson, Daniel Bellinger. Neither of them worked out, so I feel like maybe they can still keep him. Just sign Gesicki to a 1 or 2 year deal, and just get a veteran and do a little better and get some more weapons for your future quarterback. Then our guy Tyler Conklin, he's his former current Jet. He's had good years for Jets. He was former Viking. That's who he started his career with. He had a good last year there and been a right ever since for the Jets. Same spots for him are Jets, Bengals, and Chargers. For Jets, just resign them, get our weapon because you have a lot of weapons that are leaving, and you do not have much of tight end behind him if he leaves. And then Bengals, that's just if Gesicki ends up leaving, and there's another guy you could probably he shouldn't be demanding very much if he ends up leaving for agency. So there's definitely a guy you could sign to replace Gesicki and Conklin for relatively cheap. Then there's the Chargers, just to bring in a weapon they have Hayden Hurst at tight end. I do not like him that much, so I feel like they could try find a relatively cheap upgrade tight end. Like not great for agency class to do it, but he could try. And then maybe sign Conklin to like a 1 or 2 year deal and still draft the tight end. But yeah, maybe then this way if they do sign Conklin, they don't always have don't have to draft tight end. Then Jamon Johnson, he's his current Saint. He didn't have that great of a year. Like a lot of people had high expectations for him. He didn't do much, but the Saints offense didn't do much because there were so many injuries on it. Like there wasn't much weapons around him that'll keep tension away from him. I'm not saying he drew much of it. I'm just he was like he was a lot like their top weapon for some weeks because there was not much else. So yeah, thought that's him. We signed the Saints. Feel like they want to bring him back just to have him, just because Taysom Hill's technically tight end, but he really still plays everywhere. And then Broncos reunite him with Sean Payton. He was all right with Payton, so maybe Payton really likes him and wants to bring him back there in Denver. Just get some weapons for Knicks. Honorable mentions for Zach Ertz. If I didn't think he's already signed with Commanders, he would be on the list. He had a good year. It sounds like he isn't retiring, but it sounds like he's going to resign the Commanders. So yeah, I don't think he's going to be signed anywhere else. Then there's Ingram. He's a potential cut. Just he didn't have that great of a year. Jaguars could use some. They have a good amount of cap space. Could use some more just to help out their bad team. So I felt like he could be a potential release. So there's a guy there. That's it for tight ends. That's it for skill positions. Let's go to the offensive line. Let's go to tackles. So yeah, top tackle for available is Ronnie Stanley. He's a Raven. Top line veteran, Ravens, Rams, and Browns. We signed the Ravens like they drafted Rosengarten, I believe is who they drafted. So but you only use one pick, so maybe you resign Stanley and you still draft another guy this year. I feel like they would like to resign him though if he's not too expensive. The Rams they really like Lark Jackson's like a swing tackle. He's a free agent, so he could end up leaving. And Joe Noteboom, I think, is free agent as well. I didn't put him on here because I don't really like him that much, but he is a free agent. So you could bring him in. The Browns, Jedrick Wills, free agent. So you could replace him for him. Jack Conklin's been dealing with injuries the last couple of years. So you could use help with tackle. Just get help with the line for whoever your quarterback ends up being this next season. So yeah, next guy is Cam Robinson. He got traded midseason to the Vikings. Then he was alright, but he dealt with some penalty issues. So yeah, Lance Bouncer, Vikings aren't re-signing him. The only reason to trade for him midseason was because they had very size injuries, so they needed a left tackle, and they brought in Robinson for it. But Darius Saw's gonna be back next year. So Lance Bouncer, our Giants get replaced. Try to get try to get another right tackle with Evan Neal looking like a complete bust. Rams get replaced for Larry Jackson, Joe Boom. He give me a good tackle for you. The Niners, you can get a decent rate tackle for not too expensive to get replaced for Colton McKivitz. Probably only be a 1 or 2 year deal. So it'll be just in time for Brock Purdy's extension to pay big payday to start. I doubt he's gonna be wanting very much, anyways. Then the former Raven, current Jet, Morgan Moses, Lance Pastor. He's in his 30s, so at least all right. And he's some injuries last couple years. So yeah, Lance Pastor, Jets, bring him back. Maybe you don't draft the tackle maybe in the first round, so you can bring Moses back for a year, and then you can draft the tackle in the second, develop him behind Moses for a year. Then you can let Moses walk next offseason instead. Cowboys, they've had some Colts have had some struggles lately. They can use some help there. Maybe move them to guard to replace Zach Martin. Move one of your tackles to guard to replace Zach Martin. Fans of Blaine. I'll be talking about him. And the next slide at the guards. So then the Bears just try to help out your line, help get better protection for Caleb. It's one of those guys like you can still draft the guy and just have Marcus start for a year and then develop the guy like this. The Jets did with Tyron Smith during Moses year with all trying to have Ollie trying to develop him, and it didn't work. Both of them had injury traumas this year, but they tried it. Shannon guy, Larry Jackson. He's decent. Just Rams probably end up re-signing him, but maybe they don't. I think they will, but you never know. Then the Browns just bring in a good swing guy who can be a good swing tackle and help you out with protection if Jedrick Wills ends up leaving, and if you don't get Ronnie Stanley. And then the Commanders get some help on O line, try to get some better protection for Daniels. Just take a swing at somebody. And then Jedrick Wills, I know I try not to put teams on one same position multiple times, but I did Browns here 3 times just because I like. Well, yeah, Jake Wills, but he probably ends up leaving them with injury issues, and like they can only get one of these guys. I felt like they were worth putting on one of them on Philium. So yeah, I got Jake Wills. I might resign the Browns, but it's just because it was former first round pick, but he's been dealing with so many injuries of late. So maybe they don't. And then Patriots just to get it right, try to get some help at tackle to help get better protection from Jake May. Your line was not good this year, so try it. And the Giants, same thing I said with Cam Robinson earlier, try to get a good right tackle to help protect um, whoever your quarterback ends up being. So yeah, Derek Wills would have to move because he has been left tackle with the Browns. Obviously, Andrew Thomas is their franchise left tackle, but yeah. And I mentioned our Tyron Smith. He's good when healthy. Promise he's never healthy, and he's getting up there. He may end up retiring. So yeah, if it wasn't for potential retirement and injury stuff, like probably be on like at the list. Dan Moore, decent tackle. He's just like there's not great tackle depth. Like there usually isn't many good young tackles in free agency because if you have a good alignment, like you're not try your best to keep them because it's hard to find them. So yeah, that's it for tackles. Let's go to our last position group of this video. Let's go to guards/centers. So yeah, first tier alignment. It's easy. He is really good if he ends up leaving. Trey Smith, like he's easily the top guard, especially with a lot of the other top guard free agents all being old. So yeah, Trey Smith, he is really good. Like if he's only getting a huge payday wherever he ends up leaving, signing him maybe ends up resigning the Chiefs. But it's gonna be tough because he's gonna be getting a huge payday. Like the Chiefs don't have a lot of cap space to resign him with. Maybe to try to resign him. So that's why I still have him there. Vikings, they could really use interior line upgrade. Like they're that really screwed them over and against the Rams and then help against the Lions. Like that was a big part of the reason why they lost wild card against the Rams. Wasn't the whole reason, but definitely didn't help. Then the Bears just get a huge upgrade for tier line, get really good protection for Caleb Williams next year. Like wherever Chase Smith goes, he's gonna be great help and he's gonna be getting a big payday. So yeah, another guy, and then I got Zach Martin. He's old, he's getting up there, so maybe he retires. There's a good chance he also resigns with the Cowboys, but he might not. That's why I put our teams on him. But like, still felt like I should put the Cowboys on the landing spots for him. The Seahawks just get some help into your own line, get some better. Try to upgrade your own line a little bit if he is older, but still could use some help there. And the Giants, your interior line is not good. Like outside of Andrew Thomas, your line is not that good. Just try to get help there. Like I pretty much I'm also only put 3 landing spots per person. So like if I would have put like all of these teams in need tier line up for Trey Smith, it's like you need tier line up, try to get Trey Smith the cap space. So yeah, then I got Kevin Seidler, another older guy. He had a good year for the Lions, but he did still deal with a little injuries. Could resign Lions, but I feel like Chris Mahongmy did good for him at then when Sadler was dealing with injuries. So I feel like they might try to just have Mahongmy start next year. So I feel like that's why they might not resign him. So yeah, I put the Bears on here again. They just need help on tier line. And if you do get Trey Smith, you could still use help at the other guard too. So maybe you try to get both and just try to get an older vet on that offensive line. Maybe Ben Johnson really likes that there after that 1 year they were together in Detroit. The Niners, just you've had some recent picks into your line, but your tier line isn't great, so you could still use some help there. So I feel like they could use the guy. And the Vikings, they could like if they don't get Trey Smith, they could really use Zeitler. He is older, but he could still use help there. And if you get Smith, if you have enough cap space after all your other signings, maybe bring in Zeitler too, because you could really use help at both guards. Like get Blake Randall and Dalton Reiser and Ed Ingram all off the field. So, and this way you could. So yeah. Next guy, I got Drew Dahlman. He's Falcons center. I don't know if you might not have heard of him. He's not really well known name. I don't feel like. So yeah, he's been good for the Falcons. I feel like he's a good chance of resigning with the Falcons. But I decided Colts fan, just depending on what happens with Ryan Kelly. There's a guy I forgot to put in there. Not mentioned. So yeah, Kelly, he might end up leaving the Colts, but if I feel like he's probably staying with the Colts or retiring. One of the two. There's rumors going around he could retire. Yeah, Dominic is a good center. So if Kelly retires, I feel like that'd be a good time for the Colts to get their new center. So yeah, I got Mekhi Becton, former tackle, now guard. I there's like you probably pulled all these other teams I have up here on Lance roster. I just don't really think of any other teams. I already have on here, so I didn't put anybody. Well, Eagles could resign him depending on how high are they on Tyler Steen. But maybe they really like Tyler Steen and they want to stay cheap in tier line because they know they can develop a lineman great because they have a great line coach. So they want to go with Tyler Steen as your starter in his third season instead of back then if he prices himself out of there. So we'll see what happens there. If I can have good year for the first year as a guard. So yeah. Honorable mentions, got a couple older, got a few. All three of these guys are in their 30s. Brent Sheriff, he's had a good career, but he's had a little bit declining. He's in his mid 30s, so not a huge surprise, but still, I felt like some of these other guys were a little better, and I just felt like they were much anymore. Then Joel Patenio, he's a Brown. You'd have to get released, so that's why it's an honorable mentions. He's another guy older. A lot of these, like that's what I was saying earlier, like if there's good, like more often than not, if you have a good young alignment, you're not letting them leave. If they're older, maybe. Like that's a lot of these guys. A lot of them are in their 30s or dealing with injury stuff. So yeah, then Ryan Kelly, instead of what I was talking about Drew Dahlman earlier, He's probably resigned with the Colts retiring. That's why I haven't honorable mentions that. So, but yeah, I guess that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a good rest of your night.